distractions. And any of you ever notice that there are a lot of distracted drivers out on the road? Hopefully not distracted today. Certainly need your full attention driving today. But I don't know if you've ever been driving and been distracted by somebody else. Maybe you're driving along and somebody all of a sudden yells out, "Hey, look, a squirrel!" Been there, done that, right? Yeah. Or there's people in the back seat that won't keep their hands to themselves, and they're arguing or doing their things, and like, you guys stop it. And we always, how many of you have offered the warning, given the warning, don't make me pull over?
Yeah.
Yeah? Anybody ever actually pull over?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Is that better? Can you hear me now? Yeah. Maybe? Sort of?
Yes.
Like, later's almost in front of it. I can hear you fine. How about those that don't really need others to distract them when they're driving? Like we can do a pretty good job of distracting ourselves, like texting, or spending time talking on the phone, or eating, or putting makeup on, or changing our clothes. I think I've just named 5 different things. I've done 4 of the 5. I'll let you figure out which one I And those that are watching on Facebook Live, you can put it in the comment section below. But we're going to look at overcoming distractions. And so if you have your Bibles, Nehemiah chapter 6 is where we're headed. Love for you to grab a Bible, follow along. If you didn't bring one, grab a KHC Bible. Go ahead and turn. I believe it's page 345. Catch the last part of that page, and then you'll be able to flip it over and follow along from there. I don't know what's going on, but my computer doesn't want to work. But here's what we talked about. Here's our double dog dare for the whole series. Is to choose to live a life dedicated to doing the good work of God with discipline and determination. With discipline and determination. And here's the key or the big idea for today. The key to finishing strong is not just knowing what you will do, but what you won't. This is what we're going to do. We will do this. And a few weeks ago, we saw Nehemiah gave a message. We can do this, you can help. Like, we will. But then there's also a need for us to not just say we will, but we won't. Okay? So Nehemiah is going to help us out with that today. Verse 1, when word came to Sanballat, Tobiah, Geshem the Arab, and the rest of our enemies that I had rebuilt the wall, and not a gap was left in it, though up to that time I had not set the doors in the gates. I highlighted the word though because often in life we act as if though we've already completed something. We're almost done, though something is yet to be done, but we act as if we're done. You probably don't have to think too hard. There's projects at home. You've acted as if you're done, but the truth of the matter is you're not done. The job is not complete. There's something else came up and you moved over and you got distracted and you started working on another project. Like, it's almost there. Like, we had rebuilt the wall. Like, the wall's there. We came to rebuild the wall. But the wall's not complete until the gates are in there. Gates are pretty important, right? And people can still come in and everything as they wish if the gates aren't there. The walls certainly help. Kind of eliminates where they can come in. Kind of brings it to, there's only certain spots, but until the doors aren't in there, or until the doors are in place, you're not done. And so on your teaching notes, if you've already taken them out, or if you haven't taken them out, go ahead and do so. Write down, what is my though? And then fill that in. Like, there's still this to be done. I'm not done yet. Yes, I've taken some steps. We started the new year, and I've heard a number of different ones. Started a diet, and I'm like, hey, we're off to a good start, but I'm not finished yet. I still need to. And here's the thing, like, you think of a diet. One of the bad things about diets is we often look at those as like they have an end date. I was talking to somebody the other day, and they were talking about going without sugar. They felt like they needed to eat healthier, and so they're going to go without sugar for 30 days. And so it's kind of like, okay, and then what? Well, then I'm going to get some sugar. Like, okay, but it's not going to really change a whole lot. It doesn't really change your life and get you healthy if you go 30 days without it and then go back to the way everything was before. Like, we've got to finish strong. But we do that with our diet, but we also do that spiritually. I'm going to get started. I'm going to read God's Word this year. And some of you've jumped in and you're doing a life journal, and you were following along, and day 1, day 2, January 3rd, January 4th, you're following along, and like, hey, I'm doing this. I'm like, I don't know. Different things happen. We become distracted, and we let it go. There are some things that we can see have an end date to them, and when they're complete, and we can move on. There's some things in life it's continual. It's until the day I die type of thing. But you look at what God has called you to, and what's your like, this still needs to happen. We'll keep moving on. Verse 2, Sanballat and Geshem sent me this message. Come, let us meet together. And if you haven't been a part of the series, you can go back, and I'm not going to preach every single series again, or every single message of the series again. But I do want us to understand that Sanballat and Tobiah especially, they've been a couple guys that have been thorns in the side of Nehemiah and the rest of the Israelites as they're trying to rebuild the wall. Now Sanballat comes and says, hey, come let us meet together in one of the villages. Like, you know what? I know you've been working hard. I know we haven't seen eye to eye. I know we've been on the opposite ends of the wall. How about we just go ahead and kind of call it truce? You know, it's kind of like the Winter Olympics, South Korea and North Korea, and we'll just kind of pretend like everything's good to go. And we'll just have this little meeting together in one of the villages on the plain of, oh no. Just a little note to self, never meet in a place called, oh no. But they were scheming to harm me. Verse 3, so I sent messengers to them with this reply. I am carrying on a great project, or some translations, a great work, and cannot go down. Why should the work stop while I leave it and go down to you? 4 times they sent me the same message, and each time I gave them the same answer. I want to just pause right here. Those that finish strong, they don't just say no one time. They understand that it's not just going to be one time. It's like, I won't do this, and you say it one time and that's it. Then oftentimes it's multiple times, like 4 times. The enemy keeps coming up. There's always going to be opportunities for distraction. Things that keep us from accomplishing what God's called us to accomplish. Things that keep us from doing what God's called us to do, and things that keep us from being who God's called us to be. So here's the first point that I want us to get this morning. And I think this is what Nehemiah essentially was saying. I won't be detoured by what I could do. I think one of the biggest distractions is all the things that we can do. And I think oftentimes there's things that we could do, and there's good things that we could do. But Nehemiah's like, I'm not going to get distracted by the opportunities of what I could do because I'm focused on a great project. There's a great work that God's called me to do. And I'm not going to leave that to do something even if it's good. I love this quote by Andy Stanley. He said, more often than not, it is good things that have the greatest potential to distract you from the best things. You might want to write that down. You certainly need to let this sink in. More often than not, it is the good things that have the greatest potential to distract you from the best things. I love watching professional basketball. A number of you know that. And many of you know that my favorite basketball team in professional sports is the Boston Celtics. And back in the 80s, the Boston Celtics were doing great, and they had one of the best players ever, a guy that came out of French Lick, Indiana, a guy named Larry Bird. And Larry Bird was known for a lot of different things in basketball, but especially his shooting touch, and one of the best free throw shooters ever. And if you watch much basketball, you know that oftentimes when basketball players are shooting free throws, the opposing team, especially if they're at the stadium of the opposing team, they'll try to distract them to help to make them miss, right? And so they'll yell things and they'll do a variety of things. Well, Larry Bird was shooting free throws one day, and I was probably in junior high, if memory serves me correctly. And I'm watching the Boston Celtics, and all of a sudden, on the baseline, underneath the basketball goal where Larry Bird was shooting free throws, the mascot hands out some posters, and then there's about 4 or 5 different people that help the mascot out, and they open them up, and there's women in bikinis right underneath the basketball goal, basically where Larry Bird's trying to shoot free throws, like trying to be a distraction. I'm pretty sure he made both of those free throws. He was pretty dialed in. There's a lot of different appeals, and sometimes like, ooh, that could be good. And so, you know what? Sometimes we say, well, there's an open door. That's too good of an opportunity to pass up. I've said this before, but I think it's worth saying again. God's not the only one that opens doors. There are times that Satan opens doors and gives opportunities. Nehemiah had an open door. Here's an open door. There's an invitation. Leave the hard work that you're doing and go out on the plane. I'm like, just relax and chill. It was a setup. It was a distraction. Just this week, I read about another time that, more modern time, that one of the best players to ever play the game, somebody that I don't particularly care for like I did Larry Bird, but LeBron James was shooting free throws, and it was Friday night's game. And to give you a little bit of frame of reference, Thursday was a big trade day in the NBA, and a lot of LeBron's teammates were traded on Thursday. Well, it wasn't LeBron shooting the free throws, it was his teammates shooting free throws, the ones that were left, because the new teammates hadn't arrived yet. And so the ones that were left, a couple different ones were shooting free throws, and as they were shooting free throws, the fans for the Atlanta Hawks started yelling, "LeBron will trade you. LeBron will trade you." And so instead of appeal, it's like an attack, it's like rumors, like trying to get somebody to second guess their security. And that's exactly the step that Sanballat and Tobiah, that's what they take next. It's like, you know what, the appeal to say, hey, come join us, take a little break, and let's have a little talk. That detour didn't work for Nehemiah. So catch what they try to do now. Verse 5, then the 5th time, Sanballat sent his aide to me with the same message. And in his hand was an unsealed letter. It's unsealed because it's like, hey, we don't know who read this between here and there. This is kind of like today's equivalent of somebody, instead of sending you a private message, They just write on your Facebook wall. They just write on your post, like put it out there, or they tag you, and it's like just out there for everybody to see, whoever happens to pass by. Don't you love things like that? Social media can be so great. Like, oh, an unsealed letter. Well, let me just pause very quickly. Not about finishing strong, although it's going to be really hard to finish strong. If we're partaking in spreading gossip, or if we're partaking in smearing the names of other people. And so just be very careful, very, very cautious. You not be a part of gossip or spreading rumors, slandering, smearing others' names. And I think one of the biggest areas that we need to be careful with is with social media, particularly Facebook. So he sends this unsealed letter in which was written, "It is reported," I have heard, words getting around, "it is reported among the nations." It's all over the place. And Geshem says it's true. I don't know Geshem, but if Geshem says it's true, Geshem says it's true that you, the Jews, are plotting to revolt, and therefore you are building the wall. Moreover, according to these reports, you are about to become their king. So we see what's going on. Hey, this is what's going around. We may be saying it and we may be helping with it, but this is what's going around. That king that helped you out, you're revolting against him. The same king that helped provide some of the resources that you're using to rebuild the wall, the same king that you worked for and gave you a release, a temporary release to go and build the wall, is the same king that you're revolting against. That's what the word on the street is. We just want you to know what's going around. And then they say this, and have even appointed prophets to make this proclamation about you in Jerusalem. It's like you're getting others to help you out and to lift you up and to say, there is a king in Judah. Now this report will get back to the king. It's going to get back to the boss. It's going to get back to the pastor. It's going to get back to mom and dad. It's going to get back to whoever. So, come let us meet together. Like, hey, you know what? Maybe we can help kind of squelch this idea, this word that's going around, and all of that. You just meet together. Nehemiah says, verse 8, I sent him this reply, nothing like what you are saying is happening. You are just making it up out of your head. Second thing I want us to see, I won't be detoured by what others say or think of me. It can be so easy in life to get distracted because we're so worried about what others will think. And so we don't do what we're supposed to do. We don't keep pressing on because we're worried about what others are saying or what others are thinking. You know what I've learned along the line of life? I've learned that I can't control what other people think or say about me. I can't control what other people think or say about me. I can control whether or not it's true. Can't control what they think or say, but I can control whether or not it's true. I've also realized that a lot of time and energy can be spent. And it's not healthy time, it's not healthy energy, and oftentimes it doesn't go well. A lot of time and energy can be spent trying to fix our good name, or trying to help others see that we're not what so-and-so said we were, or what somebody thinks we are, or whatever. And we're so busy trying to fight that, and if you're not careful, trying to save your reputation, you end up injuring your character, doing damage to your character, and then your reputation goes right with it. You can't control what your reputation is, but you can control your character. That's something that is a part of who you are. That's something that it doesn't matter what others say and think. I know it's not fun, but ultimately it's what God says about you. Ultimately it's what God thinks about you. I don't think I'm too much different than anybody else. I've had a variety of things over the years that have been said about me. A variety of things that have been said about me, thought about me. Leadership being questioned, my motives being questioned, my heart being questioned. A lot of different things have been said. Some of it years ago, some of it within the last year. I don't know how you feel when those things are said or done, and you know it's not the case. And there's part of you probably that at least initially kind of just kind of burns and just kind of goes, and it hurts. It's that kind of a burn. It's like, really? Wow. Where did you get that from? What would make you think that? Why would you say that? Well, it sure would have been nice if you would have come to me first and at least heard me out. But over the years, what I've learned is it's so much better to kind of basically follow the Nehemiah's example. Like, what you say, it's not true, you're making it up out of your head, and then he gets back to work. It's not true, gets back to work. And sometimes maybe we need just a quick little statement, it's not true, and we get back to work. But I don't know how much time and energy is wasted, like on Facebook or other avenues, where people trying to fight different rumors and everything else and end up having a war of words and all kinds of other things. And because they go on the defense, they get offensive, and then you end up hurting other people. And just a lot of things that aren't really good and healthy or helpful end up happening. So one of the things that I've tried to figure out and understand and apply in life with God's help is not to be detoured by what others say or think of me. Because I can't control it. But I can't control whether or not it's true. Well, as we move on, look at Nehemiah verse 9, chapter 6, verse 9. They were all trying to frighten us. We get a little bit of insight, a little bit of behind the scenes of what's going on. They were all trying to frighten us, thinking their hands will get too weak for the work and it will not be completed. It's like, it's almost there, but if we can just get them to stop, if we can get them to detour, if we can distract them. But I prayed, now strengthen my hands. One day when I went to the house of Shemaiah, son of Deliah, the son of Mahedabel. These aren't like suggestions for naming your children, by the way. Who was shut in at his home. He said, let us meet in the house of God. Now, doesn't that sound like that's something we should do? He said, let us meet in the house of God inside the temple, and let us close the temple doors. Because men are coming to kill you. By night, they are coming to kill you. But I said, should a man like me run away? Or should someone like me go into the temple to save his life? I will not go. Nehemiah knew what he would do, but he also knew what he would not do. I will not go. I realized that God had not sent him, but that he had prophesied against me because Tobiah and Sanballat had hired him. Verse 13, he had been hired to intimidate me, so that I would commit a sin by doing this, and then they would give me a bad name to discredit me. Oh, he thinks he's better than everybody else. So he just went away. He really is trying to set himself up as a king, because there's really only somebody that was in a position of a king should go into the temple. Everybody else was supposed to fight and protect the king. And this goes back all the way back to the beginning of the chapter when they try to get him to go to the plain of Ono. He's like, no, I'm not going to stop the work. Why should the work stop? It's like, if you discredit me, if you detour me, you distract me, if any of this happens, He said, why? The work will stop. If I stop, the work stops. That's what happens a lot of times with leaders. And if you can discredit the leader, then everything else almost seems to fall apart. It's kind of like a house of cards if you're not careful. And not necessarily that things are set up that way, but you look at countries and families and churches. If the leader can be distracted, if we can get the leader from focusing on what they want to focus on, need to focus on, then others will follow suit a lot of times. Parents, we need to take this to heart. Parents that let their relationship with the Lord become slack. Worship attendance becomes spotty, hit and miss. And I'm not talking about days like today when it's not the best outside, and God bless you for coming in today. It's like, I never know for sure how many are going to come. And like, well, I've got a sermon to preach, and I really want to preach. And I can get from the house to here. If I can't get from my house to the church, we will not have service that day. And most of the time I just figure you guys can use your own discernment. But I watched for 40-some years of attending church. Not that I was really observant for the first 7 or 8 of those years. But I've watched. And it doesn't always bear out. But usually if the parents stop attending regularly, very high chance, very likely that their children will not attend regularly either. And it's usually significantly less than what their parents even should attend. That's what I've observed. Now, I will say church attendance isn't everything. I don't think you get a better mansion in heaven just because you came on Sunday morning regularly, or even Sunday morning and Wednesday night or whatever. But I do think there's something important about being together and establishing a tradition or just a habit of meeting together and saying this is something that's important to us. Especially when we have children in the home, to say, I want to lead them to the Lord. And a great way to do that is by showing them how important God is to me and to us as a family. And so we don't get discredited. I don't know. They say one thing. They say God's important, but man, every time something else comes up, a chance to do something else or whatever, it's like, I don't know, God doesn't seem to get chosen very often. Nehemiah didn't want to be discredited. He said, I won't be deterred by fear. You're not going to stop me. Fear's not going to stop me. You're going to try to intimidate me, try to scare me away, try to scare me into not continuing on, not finishing what God's called me to do. But that will not happen. Fear is a greater factor in distracting us from accomplishing and doing what God would have us to do. I think that we oftentimes would want to admit. Maybe one of these statements hits on it. He's not exactly what I'm looking for, but what if nobody else comes along? I really need to quit, but what if I can't find another job? I really should talk to so-and-so about Jesus, but what if they think I'm a nut job? What if they think I'm one of those Jesus, what if? And fear stops us, detours us from doing what God's called us to do, from doing the great work, the good work that God's called us to do. Nehemiah said, no, I'm not going to let fear deter me. Verse 15. So the wall was completed on the 25th of Elul in 52 days. Amazing. Awesome. Verse 16. When all our enemies heard about this, all the surrounding nations were afraid and lost their self-confidence because they realized that this work had been done with the help of our God. The fourth and final I won't that I think Nehemiah would give to us is this. I won't finish strong without God's help. If you want to finish strong in life, you need to recognize you need God's help. I think to me, this isn't just a declaration from Nehemiah. Like, I won't finish strong without God's help. I'm going to keep God in the process all the way along. I'm relying on God. I'm trusting in God all the way along. I think this is also an admission. Like, there's no way this can happen without Him. I think we saw from the very beginning of Nehemiah chapter 1, all through Nehemiah chapter 6, from the time that Nehemiah gets word that the wall is in shambles, that Jerusalem is in waste, and has this holy discontent and says something's got to be done about this, and God lays it on his heart to be the one to help lead the charge to do something. I think from that very moment, Nehemiah realized it wasn't going to get done without God's help. And so he prays. He says, God, I need your help. Goes to the king and he says again, God, I need your help. He faces some different obstacles and the people are getting discouraged. And like, God, we need your help. All along, Nehemiah saw from the beginning of the project to the completion of the project, God, we need your help. And I think this is just a great reminder for us to just take a step back and just say, God, we need your help. Parents, it's tough, right? It's tough. Even if you have awesome children, even if you have well-behaved children, it's still tough. I don't know a parent that doesn't need God's help. And there's children or teens and it ain't easy being a teen or a child either. You need God's help. Being married. Even if you have the best spouse in the world, or the next to the best spouse in the world, for the rest of y'all. Even if you have the best spouse in the world, I still need God's help. She certainly needs God's help. We need God's help. Like, I want to finish strong. I want to finish strong as a parent. I want to finish strong as a spouse. I want to finish strong as a man of God. I want to finish strong as a pastor. And there's no way that I can do any of that. I want to finish this year strong. And there's no way that I can do any of that without God's help. Right? Amen. And as strong as you are, and as strong-willed as you are, and as committed as you are, and as determined as you are, as dedicated as you are, there's no way that you can do it. And so it's important for us to say and to know there's these I wills. I am committed to this. I'm committed to make these kind of choices. I'm committed also to understand this. And I won't do this. And at the very end of that, to know I won't finish strong. I won't finish strong without God's help. So I'm going to invite our praise team to come forward. They're going to lead us in a couple songs. We invite our ushers to make their way forward as we receive this morning's tithes and offerings. The first song that the praise team will be leading us in, it might be familiar to you, it may not be, but it says, Lord, I need you. Every hour I need you. And oftentimes we open the altar or we announce that the altar is open right before the last song. I want you to know a couple things. One, this altar is always open. If the doors of the church are unlocked, this altar is open. Okay? And it's a no judgment zone. It's a you just come and you deal with the Lord and go back to what we talked about earlier. I won't worry about what others think or say. Because sometimes that keeps us from going to the altar. Well, they're going to think this or that. And, who cares? If you need to deal with God, you deal with God. And if doing it at the altar is where you feel like that needs to take place, get her done. Okay? Get her done. Come to the altar. If in your chair is the better place to do it, that's great too. Sitting, standing, whatever it would be. But you spend time focusing on the Lord, asking particularly for His strength. Maybe you wrote it in, maybe you didn't. There's that though. It's like, hey, I've been walking along, I've been doing my life journal, I've been doing this, but I've got a long way to go. I've got this, though this isn't complete. God, I need your help. Some of you maybe said, like, I was doing good, but I'm not now. Lord, I need you. The song that we sing in just a few moments, it's all of us. It's all of us. Heavenly Father, we need you. Thankful, Lord, that as we cry out to you, as we ask for your help, that you do provide it. So, Father, whatever is needed, that we would finish strong. Maybe it's refocusing, getting back on track. Maybe it's saying no to some good things so that we can focus on the great things that you called us to. Things that are not bad in of themselves, but they just get us distracted from focusing on you and serving you and leading our families and others to do the same. God, help us to finish strong. Father, as we give, may you receive all the glory. Pray that you would bless both the gift and the giver for your kingdom and for your glory. Hear our praises as we sing to you, as we worship you in spirit and truth. I pray this in your name.